It's a very shameful way which the French and the Germans behaved, and eventually those who signed on behalf of Ukraine, Germany and France. European Union is no longer peaceful economic project. NATO was playing a key role. This Rammstein process led by the United States during Biden time. He has his own view of the situation, which he bluntly presents every now and then, that this war should have never started. Nobody ever mentioned human rights except us. It's a very shameful way which the French and the Germans behaved, and eventually those who signed on behalf of Ukraine, Germany and France, Poroshenko, Merkel and Hollande, being retired already, they stated in an interview, we never intended to implement this. We just needed to buy time to push more weapons into Ukraine. And of course, NATO was playing a key role. This Rammstein process led by the United States during Biden time. Now the Americans want to give it to the Brits, I understand. But the Europeans do not stop their efforts. On the contrary, they kind of increase them and call for more and more support, becoming more and more emphatic, and I would even say nervous. Fuhrer Ursula is mobilizing everybody. Mobilizing everybody to remilitarize Europe. Some unbelievable sums of money are being mentioned. And many people think that this is a trick to divert attention of the population from those dozens and hundreds of billions of euros which have been spent during the COVID days and during the assistance to Ukraine without proper auditing. It's a discussion which is being raised. On Ukraine, where the Russian language has been exterminated legally and physically, there is a special agency to watch for this legislation to be fully implemented. Nobody ever mentioned human rights except us. Now Hungarians, Bulgarians start raising this issue because they also have their minorities in Ukraine, which was carved up mostly by Stalin after World War II, cutting through the basically like colonial powers did in Africa. Look at the African map. Just by a ruler, they draw the borders. In case of Ukraine and its neighbors, it's different because it was individually carved out, but divided nations. And another thing which this declaration also confirmed and solidified, the all rights of Russian and all other national minorities are to be respected, which, by the way, is still in the Ukrainian constitution, in spite of the fact that the series of laws they passed since 2019 culminated in total prohibition, legal prohibition of the Russian language in media, education, culture, even in day-to-day life. If you come to a store and asks the store attendant to be assisted in Russian, he or she might tell you to speak the right language. Such issues happen. But he doesn't want provide these guarantees, security guarantees to Ukraine under Zelensky. He has his own view of the situation, which he bluntly presents every now and then, that this war should have never started, that the pulling Ukraine into NATO in violation of its constitution and violation of the Declaration of Independence of 1991, on the basis of which we recognized Ukraine as a sovereign state, for several reasons, including that this declaration was saying no NATO, no blocs, neutral status. But European Union is no longer peaceful economic project. They want their own army. Speaking of the future of NATO, there are voices. Okay, if the United States doesn't want to be actively involved in European affairs, let's have our own NATO, our own military alliance. But this is the game and process. Some statements are intended, just to test the ground, what will be the response from the other side of the ocean. And I think 1.5 years ago, European Union, they signed an agreement with NATO, which basically subordinated EU to North Atlantic Alliance, providing this mobility. In other words, NATO equipment, NATO troops can use the territory of non-member, non-NATO EU states. If there are such states still left, it's Austria, Ireland, but it is not that that important, because they always think eastward. The Biden administration, Ursula von der Leyen and her commission, the Brits, who regularly accuse Russia of corruption, who regularly accuse Russia of violating human rights, and who basically, whatever international issue they discuss, they start with human rights. Right. Iran, Venezuela, Cuba, of course, Nicaragua, South Africa now violated human rights by passing a law on land. Central Asia, whenever there are several formats between the West and Central Asia, human rights are on top everywhere. NATO used to be proud that they are defensive alliance, that the only thing which concerns them is to defend territories of the member states. A couple of years ago at a summit, I don't remember where that summit was, the then Secretary General Stoltenberg already said, we need to be more active in Indo-Pacific region. He was asked by a journalist, but you insisted that you are about defense of your territories. He said, yes, absolutely, but the threats to our territories now emanates from South China Sea, from the Strait of Taiwan, and so on and so forth. And NATO started, they started building their non-inclusive blocks.
Don't miss out. Log on to oneindia.com for more updates.